Well, Kurt, take it away.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. I see some familiar names here. We've got Alyssa from Alaska and Jeffrey, Winnie. So thank you, Valerie, Kevin, Wynn. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. So my name's Kurt Anderson, and this is an absolute thrill and honor to introduce to you our speaker for today. This is Gretchen Lindell. I have a long history with Gretchen. She is an absolute, I know people throw around rock star. She is a rock star. She actually, we kind of live, she lives up the road from me, like this huge steep still. On a good day, I might even make it up my bike with my bike, but she overlooks a beautiful lake that we live on together here. So Gretchen is a professor. She is a mompreneur. She is a consultant. I've hired her for multiple projects for my own business. I've hired her to come in and work with clients. She's an expert and authority on defining and really creating that ideal client for you, identifying that persona. So with that, Gretchen, I'm going to turn the program over to you. And everybody that's on, we welcome you. Stick around, and you can go to the tables that you were just at. We're going to have some, we'll have networking opportunities. We can talk to Gretchen. We can network with each other. So Gretchen, take it away.
Oh, thanks so much for that kind welcome, Kurt. I'm so happy to share the afternoon with you guys. A nice Friday where you are, just like it's beautiful at my place. I'm just about to share my screen with you here. And oops, I meant to share this part. Okay, so Kurt, like he does, challenged me. We spoke a couple of weeks ago and said, I would love it if you could give my new group of friends here a ton of value in a small amount of time. So I have about 18 minutes, I've been told. So I'm running the clock. But before I get started, I want to make sure that you've marked your calendars for the upcoming masterclass sessions on October 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th. You can register for those in the same way you did previously. I usually spend a little bit of time on this slide, but I'm going to go ahead and forward past that because I have a unique story to tell you that I hope resonates with you. This is my father-in-law. He is, well, he's retired now, the owner of Aero Tool and Die, which was founded in 1952. And Aero Tool and Die was a small manufacturer, a tool and die. If you ask me what that means, I still don't really have a clue. Here's another photo I had to kind of get in there. That's my father-in-law with that cute mustache. And here he is with my son the day he got his helmet for football. But for many years, I've been with my husband, and I would say to him, hey, how about we take a look at your online presence and maybe explore some new ways of doing things? And of course, my father-in-law is pretty set in the ways that he's done stuff. And if it works, it works. And Aero Tool and Die is a wonderful company, and he sold it for quite a nice sum. But the person who purchased it, actually doubled the business in a year. So I hope something like that resonates with you, because they didn't really change much about the way that the company worked, but rather changed who they were talking to. And I would suggest, if you haven't done this already, reach out to our host today, Damon, and his partner, Andrew, for some advice on even going further with that if you are thinking about an exit plan, because I wish I had known them before my father-in-law got out of the business. So why are we here today? Well, we're here today because we want to get to know your ideal e-client and e-customer. I bet you know that customer that you deal with in person really well, but how do we find that person online? And that's what we're going to challenge ourselves to do today. Forgive me for going quickly, but I have that 18-minute mark in my brain, so I want to make sure that we hit it. So I'd love it if you would think about the last time you had an exceptional buying experience. Can you think about why it was so great? And I know that's a pretty loaded question for right here in this moment, like, oh, let me think about it. But if you dig down to the nitty gritty about it, it probably had to do that it didn't waste your time. It was really easy to do. You were willing to spend money on that. And it's almost like it was tailor-made for you. And that's kind of what we're doing here with a key persona. I want to show you just a couple of examples of some digital spaces that were designed using a key persona. And these are some business-to-business businesses. So first of all, we have Dropbox for Business. And right off the bat, we get a sense. So this is a screenshot of their homepage of what it is Dropbox is all about. We know that it's, it's there for savvy people who are utilizing digital resources, that it's got a nice color palette to it. It's clear. I don't have to look around for things. It's all right there, and it has a clear call to action. Similarly, that was a hard word to get out this afternoon. Evernote has a very clean look to it. There's a lot here too. Just because we have a clean design doesn't mean it's not chock full of information. You can see with the sub menu here, there's a lot of different information here for the folks who are using it, and their own really striking color palette. So today, we use personas to help guide digital design. So when we have a goal in mind, which is sales, obviously, right? That's our point. We want to make sure that we're using the correct language, the colors, the spatial cues to encourage our users to take action, like buy stuff now, right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm watching the clock. 5 minutes are down. I got 13 minutes to run through the quickest key persona exercise I've ever done. So I hope you're ready to take some notes. So who is your key persona? It's exactly like it sounds. We all have customers who come in different shapes and sizes. And what we're looking for in this exercise is your key persona, not all of them, but who is that one person? Like if you could show me a photo of the person that you hope will buy your product or service, what will he or she look like? I'm going to tell you something too, before I get to the couple of tips. You probably have 3 key personas. So for today, select one of them. And I personally would start with the one who's the most profitable. Maybe you would like to start with the one who's most loyal. It really depends on your intention, but each time you run through it, just have one person in mind. So here are the couple of tips. Okay. So a couple of best practices. This is something people always do, especially business owners. You assume you know who that person is without doing the homework. And so homework includes going to your sales reports and saying, who is actually buying this stuff? I might think it's this person, but it's actually someone else. And case in point, this summer, Kurt and I had been working with one of his clients, and he was absolutely sure that his key persona looked and acted one way until we dug a little deeper and said, hey, go to your email and check it out. Who is that person inquiring about this product? Who is that person who we actually need to connect with to convert that sale? And lo and behold, he realized that it was someone totally different in a different spot in the business's hierarchy. So it was really powerful. Also, review the research on an ongoing basis. I'm sorry, I missed basis there. It's Friday. With that being said, put this on your calendar. If you're going to be spending money on your marketing, let's make sure your marketing dollars are stretching the way that you want them to. So if you put it on your calendar monthly, that's wonderful. Maybe quarterly works better for you, but please do it no less than annually, because you want to make sure that the marketing dollars you're putting out into the universe are converting for your business. And then finally, get your team involved. I can throw a ton of resources at you. I can tell you all the websites to look at, the YouTube videos to watch, but your marketing team, your sales force that's on the ground, they also know your customers. So make sure that you're including that within your data collection process. Okay, guys, we're at the 8-minute mark. So I have 10 minutes to rock you through this really fast key persona. Here we go. So if you will do me a favor, right in front of you, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to do this. Grab yourself a piece of paper. It can be lined just like this, whatever. And then if you'll draw this setup onto your paper, I would really appreciate it. And so you'll see there's a box in the middle that says number 1. I'm going to do it right now just so I make sure that I'm not cutting you off with too much time. It doesn't have to be fancy. I'm not looking for any graphic artists here. I know you're all in manufacturing, so, living your best life. This is how fancy mine is. Okay. 30 seconds. I'm going to give you 5 more. 3, 2, 1. Okay, go. Here we go. All right. So in our next section, we are going to go through each one of those sections that we just listed off. You don't necessarily need to write this down. It'll be listed on the following slides, but we're going to talk about demographics, interests, aspirations, challenges, and the sales process. So here we go. For our first question set, right there in the middle, there's something really important I need you to do before you do anything else. Remember that person I had you think about, that KP, your key persona? You need to give them a name. And the reason why is because we are creating a persona. We're almost developing a character for the purpose of being able to create spaces and language that those folks will enjoy and then convert to sales eventually. So make sure right now you give your KP a name. And then please write down anything quickly that you can think of in terms of their demographics. So demographic information has to do with things that are related to their identity, such as age, gender, socioeconomics. Can you pinpoint their religion? Do you know anything about their ethnicity? Can you tell me their nationality? All of that information is plunked right into our demographic information. And just incidentally, while you're doing this, I'm going to give you about 15 seconds more. Kurt, unfortunately, I can't see the chat. Happened last time, but they know. Has a link to a resource guide that I've provided, and there's some interesting information in there about demographics. So hopefully I'll grab a copy of that before today's presentation is over. Okay, 20 seconds is up. Here we go. Fast and furious, folks. Question set number 2 has to do with KP's interests. So what is your key persona interested in right now? So this is a little less weighty in terms of data, but it is still very helpful because we get a sense of like who your KP is. So what are their favorite books, pastimes? Does KP admire someone? Are they following someone on social media, which is really helpful if you're trying to find people? What types of magazines? What are they binge watching? All of that type of stuff would go into KP's interests. All right, I told you fast and furious, folks. I can't add anymore, 7 minutes left. So I'm going to move to question set number 3. I had to make everything really verbose and language driven today, so I would be tongue tied. What are your KP's aspirations and goals? So in this section, you're going to find out what's motivating your KP. What does KP want out of life? What are they motivated by? What are they distracted by? And this one, I think this is helpful to me because this is just the way that my brain thinks. Who does KP want to be when he or she grows up? And the purpose of this is that if we know what excites KP, then we can build spaces that resonate with KP. And you can see, I think maybe that I'm watching the clock. So two more seconds on this one. Okay, flipping over now to question set number 4. What are KP's challenges? So who is KP at work? What challenges does KP face? And what kinds of solutions does KP need? And again, in this circumstance, this would be not something that you can find necessarily on the internet. This would be more of go out to your sales force and ask them, what are some of the things that are holding people back? Okay, and now moving to our next slide. Question set number 5, the sales process. What else do we need to know to convert the sale? So is COVID-19 slowing everything down? Of course. Or, conversely, is COVID-19 driving everybody nuts because the production is crazy and we don't have enough human resources to fill the line to get things moving? Is there a problem with access to technology, and what can you do to make it easier? Is it time, money, authority, or support? So can you make an express line? I said express line, excuse me. I meant express lane for people who need to get through quickly. So if time is holding them back, can you make it easier and quicker to convert a sale? Is it money? So are people not willing to get that high stakes purchase yet from you, but maybe want to test out the waters a little bit? So in this case, are there different pricing structures that you can get buy-in with, or a low-cost solution? If there's no authority, how can you get a person with authority? So how do we, if we're here and we're communicating with this one person, but they really don't have the authority to convert the sale, how do we get access to the person who has authority? And then finally, if there's no support, is there a way that you can provide support? I know this is probably pretty abstract, but there's plenty of companies out there who realize, maybe some of the support is just having a networking event like this one is supportive to a community. And, just doing that will help with converting sales on the end of the line. And then finally, is KP considering going with one of your competitors? All right, so this is one of those things too that always boggles my mind. When a business doesn't go online to Google their competitors to find out what they're doing, I'm like, why wouldn't you do that? All of that information is free to you. You can go on and personally say, I like that, hate it, like it, hate it, and begin to draw the framework of the digital spaces that you want for your business. So you have access to that. And if your customers are converting on a competitor's website, why is that happening? Is it because they're the only game in town who's doing it? Or are they providing some value to their clients that you could provide too, or maybe do a better job of, or provide something similar but a little bit different to differentiate yourself? You guys, I'm at 15 minutes. I got 3 minutes left, so I want to tell you, hopefully you wrote a ton of stuff down. I know this is overwhelming, and never, ever, ever would I suggest running through a key persona exercise in a quick 15 minutes. This is just the start. So you take this information, please, and use those best practices that I told you at the beginning of the presentation and use them to build on this. I'd love to give you more time and have some time where we can, go out and connect with each other. I hear a ding ding. What is the ding ding? I'm sorry. So how do we use this information?
We're good.
Once we know who your key persona is, we take in that collection, you can find digital spaces and create digital spaces for those that resonate with those people. So for instance, this 20-year-old woman, I'm not putting a lot of money on Facebook because I promise you she's not there. But if I'm trying to connect with her, you better bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to be on Instagram and Snapchat, maybe Pinterest, but certainly YouTube. Conversely, we have a gentleman over here who's a professional man in his 60s. I'm going to be on LinkedIn. I'm going to make sure that my website resonates with him because he's okay with Google. He's using it. So I'm going to make sure that I'm connecting with him there and then investing in some Google ads. I have a minute and a half, but I'm going to say, do you have any questions for me? I'm going to stop my share here. Come on back so I can see y'all. Oh.
Hey, Gretchen. That was awesome. So thank you. And
Here we go. Oh, that was the ding ding.
Can you hear me?
I hope so. Yeah, I can hear you.
So Alyssa, up in Alaska. Hi, Alyssa. If you're still with us, she has a question. How do you identify?
Okay.
How do you identify if you have a mismatch between your ideal persona and the actual ideal persona? So how do you identify if you have a mismatch between your ideal and your actual? And she's still with us.
I think it might be. So are we talking about you have an ideal client, but then you have actual customers? That's how I'm understanding that. So your customers aren't the one that you want to be your ideal client. Would you? Okay. I feel like maybe that's right.
Yeah. So, and Alyssa, if you want to elaborate, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, would someone put their hand up here? Let's see who that is. Yeah, she's put her hand up. Let's have her come to the stage and she can just answer.
Let's hear it.
We're doing it. So let's have her bringing you to the stage. That's a great part about Remo. You're going to be up here with us. You might have to turn your screen on so we can see you and hear you. But awesome.
Hey.
Awesome. You got the little one with you.
Yes. And so I only have a few minutes, but thank you so much for this. So my question is if I'm developing a key persona and then I kind of recognize that doesn't match the clients that I have, do I change my key persona, or do I just keep going for that particular person? I guess at what point, because we have very few clients so far, at what point do you realize, oh, my key persona and my clients don't match? I need to make a change. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out.
I love that. So Alyssa, I would say I wouldn't make the change yet, but I would develop 2 of them. So I would say to you, because you're making money, we don't want to stop making money for sake of trying to get in this other space. Let's continue making money and then, work on developing the spaces for those clients that you want to connect to your products. I think that in that sake, you can have more than one key persona and connect with them in different spaces. That's one of the great things about digital media, is that we have an opportunity to really tailor a digital experience to almost anyone.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Oh, bye-bye.
That's a great point. Just so and everybody knows, so this is Dr. Alyssa. She's from Alaska. She's the director of the Manufacturing Extension Partnership up in Alaska. So thanks for joining us, Alyssa. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And that,
yes,
and I love that question. And Damon and I, we have a call today with a potential client that we're talking to. And what's interesting is she's going down the supply chain where she was very B2B, really looking at corporate. And now she's looking at some more mom and pop type businesses and even exploring a potential B2C strategy. So again, like, I thought that was a fantastic question from Melissa of like, how do you make that pivot? Or sometimes you get so stuck in that one customer, you have to, look a little broader and say, are there other opportunities that we're missing? So I thought you nailed that, Gretchen. That was an excellent answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting too, because if you looked at it and you said, listen, I think my product or whatever I'm doing hits this market really well. And in manufacturers, it could be, I hit this type of industry and they like this kind of material, or they're at this place and this other kind of industry is over here. You can tailor the message, and if you know those 2 personas well, you tailor the message, the medium, and change the whole thing. That's really cool. Yeah.
Excellent. And Gretchen, and I appreciate you. So folks, the concept of our program is kind of short and sweet, put a lot of pressure on Gretchen. And so we should pull that pressure off on her for next time. And so, if you have any other questions, and the great thing, if you're new to the Remo platform, what we're going to do is Damon. So again, introduce Damon. He's the owner of Exit Your Way. He's out in Seattle. This is his platform. He is our gracious host. And what we'll do is we're going to leave the stage here in a minute. We'll go back to the tables and we can have an intimate conversation. Please ask Gretchen any questions. Damon will be around, and myself. Are there any other questions that anybody else wants to pop in the chat box? And in the last regard, Gretchen, how do you handle, like you and I have done this a number of times together, like how do you handle for the particular business or client where they feel like, I call it like that entrepreneurial curse. We try to be everything to everybody. We hate to turn anybody away. But then from an online identity, it's like we have an online identity crisis where we're almost nobody to know, we're nothing to nobody because we can't narrow the focus. We can't move the needle. We're not attacking keywords. How do you handle folks that kind of feel like, they struggle to narrow that focus?
I feel like that's every client ever that I've ever worked with. And it's, one of the things that I do, and it's not necessarily with my clients, but I definitely do this with my students, is I'll show them a red circle and I'll ask them, whose red circle is this? And immediately they all go, it's Target.
Oh, yeah.
Because Target has such a strong brand identity. They know exactly who they are and who they're serving, that it's so clear not only to them, but to everybody else in the universe. And so I think what we all strive to do is to be a Target. And sometimes, we had this discussion the last time we chatted. It's hard to turn business away for the sake of being where we should be. But Damon, I think you were the one who made the point of there's only like so many hours in the day. And if we're wasting time, we're not reaching the levels that we can be reaching. And so, that's why I said, do this persona with just one persona and then nail it, and then walk through the process again and then nail it. Don't move too fast in that process with saying, and I have the Girl Scouts over here that I want to connect with, and I'm sorry, just arbitrary group of people. But yeah, That's kind of my answer
Cool.
there.
Well, ignore the what came up on the screen. We've got it. We'll be on until 11:30. So, but we'll go back to the tables now, and you can ask Gretchen questions or any of us, and we'll do that. We ready to go,
Awesome.
Kurt?
I am. Gretchen.
Just
Oh,
one
Gretchen,
second.
go for it.
Can I just make a quick there, Kurt? I wasn't sure. Did you share
You know
that
what?
link with the folks? Because I couldn't see the chat.
I'm glad you brought that up. Damon, will it still be in the chat box? Because it was in the chat box when we were in the tables, and then I didn't see it when we came over here.
No, you were in a table chat at that point. Can you share it now? We'll wait just a moment. You can share.
Or if we go back to the table chat, it'll still be there, won't it?
Very good. Yep.
Why don't we so Gretchen has a fantastic guide for everybody.
Yep.
Let's go back to the tables, and she has that information right there for you. And then we can you just click on the chat box on the bottom, and you'll see that information. Again, we'll pop into a table and we can address any of those questions.
Very good.
So Gretchen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Gretchen.
Damon.
So good.